It is an honor and pleasure as someone who is passionate and who will be entering the classroom in the city of brotherly love after graduating from the American University with a degree in public relations and education, so that I can go back to Southwest Philly, where Almeki spent some time as a teacher, to go back and teach. And hopefully, I'll teach my nephews, and they might hate me for a period of time being their teacher. But it is all because I love the field of education. But most importantly, this is a form of protesting. You don't always have to hit the streets to protest. You can go into the classroom and protest and ensure the next generation knows about the Black Panther movement and etc. So before I introduce the one and only Sharif Al-Mekki, I do want to remind you all that this is being recorded. So please, please, please know that this is being recorded. So every sound you make, every move you make will be recorded for life, y'all. But to introduce the Sharif Al-Mekki, a man who taught me what it means to hopefully be an administrator one day that I hope to model after, but as well as someone who never forgets where he came from and rocks his afro and don't wear suits, but still drops the gems in front of everyone. But also a man I met one day in Washington, D.C. for the second time for a panel with Secretary John King. And he told me he believed in me. He said that I can do it. And he has stayed part of my journey throughout all of these years. So it is an honor and pleasure to introduce a man that I look up to, a man that continues to do the work, but most importantly, a man who believes in the next generation to really change the classroom, Mr. Sharif Al-Mekki.
Thank you so much, Tamir. It's always a pleasure to see you. I know you're coming right off a class at American U, so keep up the great work. We are looking forward. Students are calling your name already, and so we're excited about your trajectory, which means your success will also support the success of the next generation of students. Thank you all for being here for this, this really exciting announcement and opportunity. I want to thank our partners, who are here today, and I'm going to start off with thanking them for their partnership, thanking them for being here today. The Laura and Gary Lauder Family Venture Philanthropy Fund, the Charles and Lynn Schusterman Family Philanthropies, Spring Point Partners, the Walton Family Foundation, Education Leaders of Color, and the United Negro College Fund. This partnership is to launch the Black Teacher Pipeline, a national effort to dramatically increase the number of Black teachers entering our profession. We know that many of us, including myself as a young Black man who initially wanted to be a lawyer, I was not invited into the teaching profession, this noble, this important, this vital profession. I was not invited into it until after I had graduated college. There's 16 other Black men in Philadelphia. We also were approached after college and tapped on the shoulder. Tamir was one of the young men who helped us launch the fellowship, specifically looking at Black men, but we wanted to do something even more expansive, including a national campaign where we can engage high school youth, talk to them about the teaching profession, support them in their college and career tracks, and invite them and tell them they are worthy and they are worthy of our students. And that is a message, a key component that is not always offered to our youth. We also want to codify. We've had some tremendous success using the Freedom Schools model that we learned from the Children's Defense Fund model, the Charlie Cobb, Mississippi launch in the 60s, as well as locally the Philadelphia Freedom Schools movement, to learn from that and try to use it as a teacher apprenticeship program, a teacher training program that draws on the best of the Black community's activism, love, and community to support this next generation of teachers. So we want to be able to codify that and expand both the clinical and virtual experiences, as well as the engagement and affinity spaces for students across the country. And work together in order to build the systems, the pipelines necessary that is sustainable, that is supportive, that is effective and that are efficient. And as part of this Black Teacher Pipeline, we look at it as four components, and we are excited that these funders have invested in this vision, invested in this work, where it's a 4-4-4 model. If you remember Moses Malone on the run to the championship, he said 4-4-4, and that's how we look at this model. 4 years of high school support, 4 years of college support, and then 4 years of early career teaching support. In addition to this, while we are continuing to raise funds for, sorry, while we continue to raise funds for this effort, the Black Teacher Pipeline, we will also begin launching a fellowship that allows support, that includes a scholarship that is a unique opportunity for us to work with UNCF and support students financially, as well as intellectually and emotionally as they transition through college, as well as their first 4 years of their career as teachers and leaders of our classrooms around the country. And so it is great pleasure that I introduce you to Laura Louder and her daughter, Eliana Louder. And I'm excited for you to hear how this conversation began early on. So I will ask the Louder family to take it away.
Thank you so much, Sharif. Truly honored and humbled to be speaking after you today. With our family, we have been thinking a lot about this issue for a few years. And ever since, ever since we saw the documentary 13th, it really struck us as a Jewish family um, with ancestors who survived the Holocaust. There's a lot of unjust persecution in this world for people that truly are working so hard, and for us it struck us because we this was our value system, and this is unjust to know that in this country we could there was a lever that we could make a difference, that kids, when we found out this statistic that 13% or that kids were 13% more likely to graduate from high school if they had a Black teacher, 32% more likely to enroll in college if they had a Black teacher. To us, that felt like the lever that could make a difference. It would be almost furthering the injustice to know that statistic and to not take action and to not do something about it. And it's an incredible field, and education has always been an issue that we care so deeply for. And so we're truly honored to be partaking in this movement and in this act of protest, as Tamir says, to take the next step for the future generations and sow seeds of justice in our system that realistically we will probably not see the fruits of in our time, but hopefully generations to come will feel the difference and feel justice, and educational justice is probably one of the highest forms to us. So I'll pass it off to my mom.
Thank you, Eliana, and thank you, Sharif. Eliana, you're a hard act to follow. You have a lot of passion for this, and for that, I'm so grateful. And I'm also so grateful to Sharif for creating this extraordinary initiative to enable all of us to be supportive of this critically important effort. I worship teachers, okay? Teachers are literally the gods of our country in terms of making sure that the next generation has a chance to succeed and fulfill the American dream. As Eliana mentioned, we care deeply about the Hebrew word tikkun olam, which means repair the world. And that we have in common with our Black brothers and sisters, with all people of color as one nation, one world. I have to say that we are venture philanthropists. So what that means is that we invest in initiatives with highest quality leaders like Sharif and his team, And then we try to scale these efforts to grow them in a way such that they will have immeasurable impact. And I'm so thrilled that these other foundations have joined us. We are so grateful to all of them for joining in this effort. We are sure that today is just the beginning. And Sharif, you will take this far and wide, and we're so pleased to be a part of your launch. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you both, Eliana and Laura. Next up, we're going to ask Talia Givens from United Negro College Fund to speak.
Thank you so much, Sharif. At UNCF, we really stand committed to getting students to and through college and into successful careers. That is what we do. And we all know that getting to college starts with that solid K-12 education. I mean, our nation sits at a loss right now in the number of teachers of color, with only 7% of our teaching population being Black. While the research shows that having minority teachers benefit not just minority students, but also non-minority students. Therefore, UNCF, we here stand committed with the Center for Black Educator Development in supporting the Black Teacher Pipeline Project. We want to see more Black teachers into the classroom because we know they matter. As we said, data shows that Black students that have just one Black teacher by third grade are 13% more likely to enroll in college. That is why we are very excited at UNCF. We want to be here to do what we do best and partner with this coalition to help financially support these students on their educational journeys. At UNCF, we have over 77 years in supporting students by awarding over $100 million annually to students through our 400 different programs. And over the past 11 years, UNCF has impacted Black teacher pipelines through our K-12 partnership with the Walton Family Foundation, providing valuable internships and professional career training and placement for over 300 HBCU college students, seeing over 40% of them continue on into careers in K-12 education. Our work in K-12 advocacy, K-12 education advocacy, and specifically in student professional development programs has shown that the scholarships with the higher education, coupled with professional career development, are essential to the formula for success in building intentional career pathways and advancement. So your 444 plan is on track. So UNCF is ready to stand ready with you and continue this investment in the Black teacher creation alongside all these great partners in doing a really great work. Thank you, Sharif, again, for bringing UNCF along for this journey.
Thank you again, Talia. I'm going to ask now that Laura McHugh, Associate Director at the Hive at Springpoint Partners, LLC, in Philadelphia, hometown foundation.
Thank you so much, Sharif. Good morning, everyone. I am thrilled to be here today, along with my national colleagues, to publicly express our support for the Center for Black Educator Development. I'm also very proud to say that Springpoint Partners has partnered with and supported Sharif and his educator diversity efforts in Philly, now with the Center for Black Educator Development since the very beginning. And we are very excited to have the opportunity, thanks to the Louder family's vision and commitment here, to help support these efforts to go national at this time. At Springpoint, we have two intersecting areas of interest that are directly connected to the center's work. Our focus on the importance of strength-based youth development and our focus on the intersection of equity and human-centered learning. If you have not had a chance to check out the various data points on the center's website, some of which were already referenced here today, I strongly encourage you to immerse yourself in it. Their work is extremely compelling. We believe in this data, and we believe that educator diversity has a deep and lasting impact on the quality of education that Black children and youth receive in this country. Equally as important, we believe in the power and the potential of Sharif's long-term vision. We are perhaps most excited about his ability and the center's ability to serve as a movement leader and a systems builder in the education space. It is a testament to the fact that, in our opinion at Springpoint, it takes an educator, an expert practitioner with deep activist and community roots to do this kind of work and to do it really well. And at Spring Point, we believe deeply, as Sharif knows, in this practitioner expertise and in supporting practitioners to do this hard work that we all know needs to be done in order to transform our world into a more just place. I would encourage everyone listening on this call today to find a way to support the center's critical efforts, dramatically increasing the number of Black educators so that Black students can reap the full benefits of a high quality education is a goal that I believe we can achieve together. And this kind of movement building, systems changing work requires meaningful long-term partnership. We're very, very excited to be here with everyone and look forward to collectively supporting the center's work as we move forward. And I just want to thank Sharif and Victoria for the opportunity to be here with you today. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, Sharif.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Laura. Next up to speak will be Courtney Lee, Chief of Staff at Education Leaders of Color, which I have the honor to be a member of EdLock.
Good morning. So hello, my name is Courtney Lee. I'm the Chief of Staff for Education Leaders of Color. We're a membership organization of more than 400 Black and Brown leaders from across the country who are dedicated to leading more inclusive efforts to improve education. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today in recognition of this milestone for Sharif and for the center. Sharif is a two-time recipient of the Boulder Fund, both in 2020 as well as 2021. The Boulder Fund is a multi-million-dollar grant program that exists specifically to support people of color, leading the way toward educational equity. At EdLock, we invest in leaders and ideas like the one you've heard about today, ventures that have the potential to transform education and life outcomes for our country's most vulnerable students, innovations that ensure low-income and underrepresented children have access to a high-quality education, one that enables them to become critical thinkers, to have choices, to capitalize on opportunities, and to secure economic advancement. Through the Boulder Fund, we invested in Sharif not once, but twice, because the Center for Black Educator Development allows us to support the launch and expansion of creative solutions to one of the most pressing issues in the field. Our investment also serves to increase the impact of a program and a leader who is strongly aligned with our values. Sharif's approach is truly intersectional. It merges education with other social and economic issues that impact the learning of students and the success of our communities. It is also unapologetic about centering the rich cultural traditions and experiences of Black communities within the solution. And this is important to EdLock because we are the very children and come from the same communities that we're serving. We believe that it is leaders like Sharif who are deeply vested in the local communities in which they are serving who are also best positioned to lead more inclusive efforts at improving educational outcomes. While many of us in this space, like myself, Sharif, Tamir, right, we grew up in the communities we serve, and yet we've also been blessed with academic and professional success. The opportunity gaps that we experienced as students don't exactly go away as adults. Oftentimes, the first check is the hardest to come by for entrepreneurs, particularly entrepreneurs of color without longstanding ties and access to philanthropic community. So the Boulder Fund serves to stand in that gap. We hope that the Boulder Fund is a catalytic investment to get projects off the ground, to open doors for additional outside support, and helps make the larger philanthropic community take notice of the potential of our third way leaders of color and their ideas. So we're absolutely most excited to see this intent manifest through Sharif's leadership and the broad philanthropic coalition of support you see represented here today. It's the best part of my week. We're very proud to stand with you, Sharif, and the center as you expand your efforts to attract, strengthen, and develop the pipeline for Black teachers. We commend you. We thank you for your vision and for your leadership.
Thank you so much, Courtney. We appreciate all of you. And I just wanted to share this collection of funders, supporters, investors, colleagues, mentors, have been tremendous. And we appreciate all of the support that we've had in Philadelphia from the community, from parents, from students like Tamir, from students, that I had the honor of teaching and leading as a principal. to launch this effort, this national campaign for a national Black teacher pipeline. Would also like to say that this collective, these partners have invested $3.1 million to launch this campaign nationally, to build on what we've learned. We know that we stand and lean on the shoulders of giants, great Black educators. We've been highlighting some of them in a partnership with Citizen Ed and Philly 7th Ward of Black Educator Hall of Famers. And we know we stand on their shoulders, we lean on their shoulders, and this is just a continuation of the work that has been done for many, many generations. Caroline LeCount, if you've not heard of her, please look her up. You can find her on Philly 7th Ward. Caroline LeCount in the 1880s was demanding more Black educators to support Black students. So what we're saying is not new, but how we're trying to do it is. It is innovative, it is exciting, and for me, it is inspiring. This call to action, we are expecting to yield 21,000 Black students into a national Black teacher pipeline with 9,100 Black teachers in the profession, being supported in the profession in 12 years. For us, that 444 means that there's a long-term commitment, investment in our students, and it doesn't just go away after they get hired. We believe that it's 12-year pipeline, and that this is what you turn from a leaky pipeline into a robust, strong, nurturing one. And with that, I will just add, I want to thank the Center for Black Educator Development staff and particularly Victoria Harrison, who is here on the call. And I also want to recognize Emily Davis from Squad Buck, who's been a partner, who I initially met at the U.S. Department of Ed as a fellow, where Tamara Harper and I, connected with. But then also two people that you have not heard from today, but they and their organizations have been immensely supportive and are part of this initial investment of $3.1 million over 3 years. Michelle Liardo at the Walton Family Foundation, and Dr. Heather Harding at Schusterman Family Philanthropies. And so with that, I will open it up for Q&A.
We have one question but we also encourage other folks to add questions into the Q&A chat box is open right now, so feel free to do that. The question is specifically around how elementary school leaders can help to support this effort, but also much applause around this being a much needed and powerful effort, but really wanting to know how the elementary school leaders can play a role or support in this effort. So maybe I'll throw that to you, Sharif.
Okay, thank you. Well, listen, I think it starts very early. When I mentioned earlier that the founders of the Fellowship Black Male Educators for Social Justice, who were supporting current inspiring Black men, 17 of us, we were well educated, we were successful in our field, we were all relatively good looking and committed to our communities. None of us had been tapped on the shoulder to consider becoming teachers. However, one of the first things that we did was ask our colleagues. Many of them were white women, and the average response was third grade was when someone tapped them on the shoulder, invited them into the field of teaching, had a conversation with them as third graders. And for us, it was post-college. And so that chasm, I think, is something that elementary school leaders can address. They can start having those conversations early. When you see young Black leaders, classroom leaders, great at math, great at whatever content, if they show empathy and concern and a level of activism, and they don't have to be perfect at it. If you just see any of that, bring that into the conversation. And of course, we're going to support our youth in whatever it is that they want to do. But we should also ensure that our best and brightest are being encouraged and invited into this profession, and not ignored, not just handed a basketball, not just sent to various disciplinary offices. Invite them into this profession because they are closest to solving the issues that we have wrangled with for generations. In addition to that, we are launching our Freedom Schools Literacy Academy again this summer. It will be virtual as well as a small cohort, science willing, in person in Philadelphia and Camden. But there's a virtual opportunity for current kindergarten, first and second graders to participate in our Freedom Schools Literacy Academy, where they will be taught by Black high school and college teacher apprentices. And so if you know families who might be interested in having their current kindergarten through second grade students participate in our Freedom School Literacy Academy, where they're supported with phonics, reading comprehension, positive racial identity, as well as the opportunity to engage in community in learning this summer from July 6th to August 6th, please share it with them, invite them, and you can find more information on our website.
Great, thank you. We do have a couple more questions that are coming in. We've got about 3 minutes left, but we will do our best to get to all of them. There is one question specifically around how community organizations can be involved in this effort, and specifically from a national perspective. So I'll open that up to the panel if there are folks here that want to specifically talk about how a community-based organization could become involved.
Well, I'm happy to kick it off for folks, and then people
Sure,
can
sure.
chime in. I think, this was grounded, imagined, vetted, shared within the community before we went to investors. So I think, one, that's extremely important. Ever since our launch, we've engaged with community members, community organizations. And so we would say, please reach out if you have access to high school and college students who want to commit to teaching, want to explore the teaching profession. Please, reach out to us, connect with us. One of the things that we're doing with this teacher apprenticeship is building affinity spaces for Black youth, aspiring Black youth. And so community organizations are connected to them. And so we would hope that you'll be able to reach out and connect us. And then also we will be looking to, as we expand on this national campaign effort, we'll be looking for 10 cities to partner where there's a consortium in each city that can build their leg of the Black teacher pipeline in their cities. And so that it all connects. So these different tributaries will be extremely valuable as we move forward this effort. And we're in the first 3 years of this phase. And again, it's a 12-year pipeline that we want to continue to double down on it and support. So we will be looking for organizations that are connected to the community deeply, the same way that we were here in Philadelphia. We believe that is the Black blueprint that has always provided our communities with success, and we want to continue.
Thank you, Sharif. And we are at time. There are a few other questions that we have in the chat box, but what we will do is we will take those down and we will reach out to you and be sure to respond to your specific questions that you have provided for us in the Q&A. And just thank you so much for being here. This has been a fast and thrilling 30 minutes. Would also just like to shout out our colleague, Mackenzie Moritz, who also supports the Louder family in endeavors, and has just been a huge colleague and friend and supporter for all of this. And we are thrilled to have you here. I will just turn it to Sharif to give the last word.
Yes, thank you again. And yes, so we'd be remiss without mentioning Mackenzie Moritz, who also has Philly ties that we're really excited about. And, I think the more educators who are in various fields, after they've taught and they are informed and they help connect the dots between what's actually happening in classrooms to policymakers, to politicians, to philanthropists, to the business organizations and beyond. Like, I think that is an important, vital part of the ecosystem, is when educators are being listened to, educators are being allowed to inform, share their experiences. And it's things like that that I think allows this country to move forward. And so I'm just really grateful for not only Mackenzie's work, but for connecting us with the Louders, for the Louders setting a goal, a match goal for our other partners to stand up and say, yes, we will also match what what was Eliana's brainchild of something worthy of investing in. And this again is, just want to also characterize like the youth that are on this panel, both with Eliana as well as Tamir, indicates, an extremely important part of the answer to issues that have plagued our country for generations. So with that, I thank you all for being here, for being a part of this journey, and for helping us to launch this national campaign for the Black Teacher Pipeline, as well as the launch of the fellowship that involves Black Educators of Excellence Fellowship in over the next 12 years. Thank you all so much. See you soon.
Can we stay on?
Yeah, sure. Whew, thank you all.
Wait, Mackie, wait, it's
Yeah,
recording.
Oh, sorry.
Folks hop off first.